Hi everyone, my name is Professor Oaks and this video is about factoring out a greatest common factor. Alright, so sometimes we call the greatest common factor the GCF. Alright, GCF for greatest common factor. So the first question here says factor the expression below completely and one of its factors is blank. So there will be more than one factor, but they're only asking us to find one of them. So if we have 16y squared plus 4y, we have two terms, 1, 2, and we want to go ahead and figure out what factors go into each of these. So, the 16y squared. All right. So we have 16y squared. 16 is 2 times 8, and 8 is 2 times 4, and 4 is 2 times 2. So we have the 16y squared is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times y, and then the 4y, we have 4 is 2 times 2, so 4y is 2 times 2, and then I'm going to align the y above the y, just so we can see these both have a 2 as a factor in common, a 2 as a factor in common, and a y as a factor in common. Alright, so now we have the 2 times 2 times y then is the GCF. So that's 4y. Alright, now I'm going to take the 16y squared plus 4y, and I'm going to multiply by 4y and divide by 4y. Alright, so 4y over 4y is just 1. And then I am going to just rewrite this as 4y times 16y squared plus 4y all over 4y. So that's still the same thing, alright, because the 4y over 4y is 1. And then you have 4y times, now another way I can write this is 16y squared over 4y plus 4y over 4y. So then I have 4y. Alright, so these are all equal to each other here. So times 16y squared over 4y, well that's 4y, and then 4y over 4y is 1, so I have one of the factors is 4y and the other one is 4y plus 1, so there is the 4y plus 1, that's one of the factors. Now, by the way, if you would have noticed right away that 4y goes into 16y squared and 4y goes into 4y, then this is a lot quicker, but I was just showing you how you would do this if you did not recognize that right away. So let's try again. We have 30 a cubed b cubed c to the fourth minus 50 a to the fifth b to the third c squared. So really again I want the greatest common factor, the largest number that goes into the coefficient first, the 30 and the 50. Well, I know 30 is 3 times 10 and 50 is 5 times 10, so 10 is the largest number then that would go into both of these. Alright, so now I know then I have a 10. Then I see that here I have a to third and a to fifth. So the greatest number of a's that goes into these is, well, the a to the third then. All right. And then I look at the b's. I see that there's b to the third in both of these, so b to the third is a common factor. And then I see c to the fourth and c squared. I see there's two c's in each of these terms, so c squared. Then I need to go ahead and see what I have left after I divide each of the two terms by that greatest common factor. So 30a to the third, b cubed, c to the fourth over 10a cubed, b cubed, c squared. Then 50a to the fifth, b to the third, c squared over 10a to the third, b to the third, c squared. So it's 10a to the third, b to the third, c squared. Then 30 over 10 is 3. The a to the thirds divide out. B to the thirds divide out. Then 2 of the c's divide out. So 3c squared minus 50 divided by 10 is 5. 3 of the a's divide out. So there are 2 left. The b to the thirds divide out, and the c to the seconds divide out. So I am left with 10a to the third, b to the third, c squared is one of the factor, but then the 3c squared minus 5a squared as the other factor. So hopefully this makes sense a little bit more of how I am getting the greatest common factors here. So let's try another one. We have factor the expression below completely. One of its factors is blank. So this has 3 terms here, 8x squared plus 8x plus 8. But hopefully you can see that all of the terms have an 8 in them. Not all of the terms have an x in them, though. This had 2 x's, this had 1 x, and that had no x's. Alright, so the GCF is 8. So once I factor out the 8, then I'm going to divide each of the terms by that greatest common factor. So we have 8 times, the 8's divide out, the 8's divide out, the 8's divide out, so x squared plus x plus 1. So that is one of the factors. The other factor was the 8. Alright, let's try again. So we have 9m to the 6th minus 18m to the 5th plus 27m to the 4th. So I see the 9 is 9 times 1, 18 is 9 times 2, 27 is 9 times 3. So we see these all have a factor of 9 in common, and they all have at least 4 m's in common. See, this had 4 m's, that had 4 m's, and that had 4 m's, alright? So they all have at least 4 m's, so the GCF is 9m to the 4th. So I have 9m to the 4th, and then I divide that common factor out of all of these terms here. So 9m to the 4th, 9m to the 4th, 9m to the 4th. So what's left? Well, the 9's divide out, so m to the 6 over m to the 4th is m to the 2nd. 18 over 9 is 2, and 4 of the m's divide out, so m. And then 27 divided by 9 is 3. And the m to the 4ths divide out. So I have m squared minus 2m plus 3 is one of the factors. Alright. This doesn't mean that we might not learn other factoring techniques later. We will, but that was one of the factors. Alright, let's try again. We have 8z squared plus 16z plus 32. So this is 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 4. So we see that these all have an 8 in common here. So the GCF is 8. So once I factor out the 8, I have 8 times 8z squared over 8 plus 16 z over 8 plus 32 over 8. So it's 8 times z squared plus 2z plus 4. And there is one of the factors. All right, let's try again. We have 35p to the third minus 50p to the eighth. So this is 5 times 7, and the 50 is 5 times 10. So these both have the greatest common factor of 5. And we have at least 3 p's in each of the two terms, so 5p to the third. So we have 5p to the third times 35p to the third minus 50p to the eighth, all over 5p to the third. So if I simplify, I have 5p to the third times 35 over 5 is 7. P to the thirds divide out, minus 50 divided by 5 is 10, and p to the eighth over p to the third is p to the fifth. So 7 minus 10p to the fifth is one of the factors. All right, so now I will look at another one here. So we have 4p plus q minus 2r. So we see that this is 4p and this is like 1q and negative 2r. So there's no common factor here except just a 1, because this would be 4 times 1, 1 times 1, and negative 2 times 1. All right. And these are all different variables, p, q, and r. So none of them are in common. So that's why this one cannot be factored. So the GCF would just be 1 in this case. All right, so let's factor the expression below completely. So we have 6x to the fourth y squared plus 18x to the fourth y to the third minus 18x to the sixth y to the fifth. All right, so we have 6 times 1, 6 times 3, and 6 times 3. So we notice that the GCF has a 6 in it. Then the number of x's that is in common between all of the terms, well, they're 4, 4, and this one here has at least 4, right? And then for the y's, we know that we have at least 2 y's in all of the terms. So the GCF is 6x to the fourth y squared. So if we have 6x to the fourth y squared times 6x to the fourth y squared plus 18x to the fourth y to the third minus 18x to the sixth y to the fifth, divided by the GCF 6x to the fourth y squared, 6x to the fourth y squared, 6x to the fourth y squared. Then I'm left with, well, this all divides out. 6 over 6 is 1, x to the fourth over x to the fourth is 1, y squared over y squared is 1. So we have 6x to the fourth y squared times 1 plus 18 over 6 is 3. X to the fourth divide out, and y to the third over y squared is y. Then minus 18 over 6 is 3. Then x to the 6 over x to the fourth is x squared. And y to the fifth over y to the third, or second is y to the third. There we go. There I have it. I said it correctly that time. And then if I look here then, well, I'm not sure that the answer actually well, I'm not sure that the answer actually appears to be here. So I don't see the answer here. So this is these answer choices are bogus. So this is how you would completely factor the expression for this problem here. All right. So now let's try another one. Factor the expression below completely, and one of its factors is blank. So we have 21t, 5 plus 4s, plus 3 times 5 plus 4s. This is one term. and this is one term. Alright, so the 21 is 3 times 7. The 3 is 3 times 1, so these both have a 3 in common. And then this term has a t, this term does not, but the term both have a 5 plus 4s, right? So each term has a 3 and a 5 plus 4s. So the GCF is 3 times 5 plus 4s. So I have 3 times 5 plus 4s, and then I have 21t times 5 plus 4s plus 3 times 5 plus 4s, and I do the same thing that I've been doing, so don't let the extra parentheses here distract you, because they're meant to distract you here. Then let's see, the 21 over 3 is 7, so 7t, 5 plus 4s divides out, right, and the 5 plus 4s divides out, and 3 over 3 is 1, so we have 3 times 5 plus 4s times 7t plus 1. Well, we don't see our answer there, but if you look at this though, if I multiply the 3 times the 7t plus 1, I do get 21t plus 3. So there is the answer. Alright, I hope that you're enjoying this. So let's try again here. We have 14 times 7y minus 2 plus 10y times 7y minus 2. So we see that the 14 is 2 times 7, and the 10 is 2 times 5, so these both have a 2 as a common factor. And these both have well, this is a term again, remember, this is a term, so they both have a 7y minus 2. So the GCF is actually 2 times 7y minus 2. So we have 2 times 7y minus 2 times 14 times 7y minus 2 plus 10y times 7y minus 2. So then we divide by the GCF here, 2 times 7y minus 2, 2 times 7y minus 2. Alright, so then we have 2 times 7y minus 2. The 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7y minus 2 divides out. 10 over 2 is 5, so plus 5y, and the 7y minus 2 divides out. But we don't see our answer choice here once again, but we have the 2 times the 7 plus 5y. If we distribute the 2, we will get the 14 plus 10y, which is the answer that is here. Alright, let's try another example here. So factor the expression below completely. One of the factors is blank. Alright, so we have 2ac plus bc plus 2ad plus bd. Well, I don't see a 2 in all 4 factors. I don't see an a in all 4 factors. I don't see a c in all 4 factors. And I don't see a b in all 4 factors. Alright, but what I do notice is that there are 4 terms, and when I see 4 terms, there's something called factoring by grouping that is usually done with expressions that have 4 terms in them. Alright, so what that means is to look at the first 2 terms only and see what's the GCF is between these first 2 terms. I see these both have a C. So we have C times 2AC plus BC over C. So if I divide out the C's, I have that would be C times 2A plus B. Then the second two terms here both have a D in common, so the GC up is D. So we have D times the 2AD plus BD over D. So if I divide out the D's here, I have plus D times 2A plus B. And now I see that the new GC up would be the 2A plus B, right? So I have 2A plus B times the C 2A plus B plus D 2A plus B. So we're dividing by 2A plus B, and once we divide out the 2A plus B, I have 2A plus B times C plus D. All right, so 2A plus B was one of the factors. What a time to be alive. All right, let's try another one here. We have 3sx plus 9tx plus 3sy plus 9ty. So we see that there are four terms again. So look to see what's in common in the first two terms. And I see this is 3 times 1 and 3 times 3. So 3x. So the GC up is 3x. So I have 3x times 3sx over 3x plus 9tx over 3x. The 3's and the x's divide out. So I have 3x times s plus 9 over 3 is 3. And the x's divide out. So I have t. And then I look at the second two terms here, and I have 3sy, so this is 3 times 1, and 9ty, so 9 is 3 times 3, and I see these both have a 3 in common and a y in common, so the GC up is 3y, so plus 3y times 3sy plus 9ty over 3y. The 3y's divide out, and so I have plus 3y times s plus 9 over 3 is 3. The y's divide out, so I have just t left. And then we see both of the two terms that are left have a 3 and a s plus 3t in them. So GC up is 3 times s plus 3t. So we have, well, all right, what do you have? You have 3s plus 3t times 3xs plus 3t plus 3y times s plus 3t. So I'll divide out the s plus 3t here. So 3s plus 3t. So divide out, divide out, divide out, divide out. So we have 3 times s plus 3t times x plus y. And we see that s plus 3t is indeed one of the factors. All right, so now let's try another exciting example here. What a time to be alive, right? So let's factor the expression below completely. So here it is. So we have AU plus BU plus AV minus BV. So we see that there are four terms here again. So we'll use factoring by grouping. So the first two terms have a U. So the GC up is U. So it's U times AU plus BU over U. So we'll divide out the U's. So we have u times a plus b. Then we look at the last two terms and we see that we have a v in each of the two terms. So the GCF is v. So we have plus v times av over v minus bv over v. Once I divide out the v's, I have v times a minus b. And then I see here, well, there is not a greatest common factor here because one of the factors here is an a plus b, and one of the factors over here is an a minus b, and these are not the same, so there's just a GCF of just 1, so this cannot be factored. All right, let's try again. Factor the expression below completely. So we have AU plus BU minus AV minus BV. So here we have a GCF of U. So it is U times AU plus BU over U. If I divide out the U's, I have U times A plus B. And this one is a little bit different because I see that the GCF is actually a negative v in this particular case. All right, unlike the last example where it was just a v. So this will be minus v times a, what will this be? Well, negative AV over negative V minus BV over negative V. The negative V's divide out, so I have minus V times A plus B. Now I see that the GCF is going to be A plus B. So I have the A plus B, then times the U, a plus b minus the v, a plus b, all over a plus b. I divide out the a plus b's, so I'm left with a plus b times, here's a u minus v, and I see then a plus b is one of the factors. All right, I hope that you're enjoying this because we have one more example still. So here it is, it got cut off. So let's factor, let's see, 4wx plus xz minus 8wy minus 4yz. All right, so now what do we have here? The first two terms, remember this is 4 terms, so I'm going to do factoring by grouping. I see that there is an x as a common factor, and here I see the negative 8 and the negative 4, so I have negative 4 times 2 and negative 4 times 1, so negative 4, and these both have a y here. So the first two terms have a GCF of x, and the second two terms have a GCF of negative 4y. All right, so if I factor out x from the first two terms, I have x times 4wx plus xz all over x, and then minus the 4y times negative 8wy over negative 4y minus 4yz over negative 4y. So if I divide out the x's here, from the first part here, I have, what do I have? I have x times 4w plus z minus 4y, and then I have, well, what do I have here? I have 8 over 4 is 2, so I have 2. The y's divide out, w. The 4's and the y divide out, so plus z. Well, as I mentioned before, these have to be the same, or they're not considered a, well, they're not a common factor, right? Because common means they need to be the same. So that means this one cannot be factored, all right? Because the GCF is actually just 1. So now that is it for this section on factoring out a greatest common factor. I hope that you enjoyed this video today and that you're already looking forward to the next one. Thank you and have a great day.